What's going on? Welcome back into the TFE's podcast. Dalen Cuff, Kelsey Riggs Cuff, hanging out for another day of thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And we haven't done a little bit of sports in a long time.
We have not. I also never heard you say the TFEs. You just always say TFE's podcast.
Did I say a "the" this time?
You did.
I just change the name every time. It just keeps people on their toes trying to figure out what we're actually doing and talking about and calling this podcast.
It's just an article. It's okay.
TFE's podcast.
There you go.
No "the."
I just found it interesting.
I don't have a little bit of sports really on my mind.
I'll say, what was that? Where were you going to talk about?
As I was saying it, I was like, oh, there's not really like a little bit of sports that we've done in a little while.
I'm happy to talk about Arsenal if you like. I mean,
the floor is yours.
I mean, you win the Premier League championship. We have the Champions League final on Saturday against PSG. I have blocked that on the calendar. Don't know if we discussed it as much as I do want to go to the bar with Nick, who's also an Arsenal fan, and a couple other guys. May have said that to you. I don't recall.
No.
Well, I definitely want to do that. On Saturday. It's at 12 o'clock, so it's right around nap time, so I feel like it's the perfect time for me to disappear for a few hours.
Yeah.
And hopefully come home champions of the double.
Is this the most anticlimactic championship ever when you guys were not even playing and you win because Man City lost?
So, yeah. So, for anybody listening
also
understands,
proud of me for
good
remembering
job,
all of that,
yeah,
right?
Good work.
Good job.
Good job. So anybody that doesn't know how this works in Europe, in the global soccer, in your leagues, they don't have playoffs like all the big leagues. It's just you play every team twice, home and away. Whoever's the most points, 3 points for a win, 1 for a draw, 0 for a loss. That's your champion. I think it's the most pure way to determine who is the best team of the season across any sport. And it's the hardest championship to win is the English Premier League. They had to win every game over the last 5 games to get there after a tough April. They won all 5 of those games. Man City drew against Everton. It came down to Man City playing in a midweek game. We all assumed on Sunday when they all played at the same time, that's what it was going to come down to. Decision day, the ultimate day, the final day of the season. But City got bounced by Bournemouth in the middle of the week. So, yeah, they won. Arsenal watched the game just like I did and won a championship. It is bizarre.
Were they all together watching?
Yeah, their coach said he basically couldn't handle it. So he wasn't there, but all the team was at the stadium. I think I sent some of this to you because it was really cool. Like it's been 22 years since Arsenal's won that championship. They've finished second the last 3 years. It's one of the story clubs in the country, in the world, but it's gone through some struggles the last decade and a half in particular. That said, is outside of Arsenal Stadium at Emirates, people started like congregating there at 8 o'clock local time when it looked like City might draw.
Yeah.
So like people just started matriculating to the stadium. You saw like a time lapse video. First it was a couple hundred, then a couple thousand, and then it hit 8:30 and it was like they're actually not going to win. It's going to be over. Arsenal's going to be champs. Arsenal wins. They're no joke. 50,000 people. The stadium holds 60,000. 50,000 people outside of it. There were reports later that got to like 80 or 90,000 just around the stadium. And this is not like American stadiums, like Giant Stadium out in the middle of nowhere in Jersey in a parking garage. It's a little bit more like, Charlotte Stadium is more close to downtown, but it still has like parking around it. These are born out of the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. That's why they're like college football. It's just like pops up in this part of a city or part of a town, and it's just there's not a lot of room around it. People just all went there, and it was really cool. So, yes, it was a little anticlimactic to win that way.
Think Franklin Street on steroids.
On complete steroids, yeah. It's just that's again you get the college UNC at Chapel Hill. So there's the college comp is the closest thing where you're just kind of like in this community. But also that is London too. Like it's the middle of one of the biggest cities in the country. It was awesome. So yes, it was a weird way to win it. Like I was really happy, but I was also mentally prepared for like Sunday. I was going to be on a flight to LA, just like locked in. Thought I'd be screaming at the TV, and instead I was just watching the trophy presentation and hanging out on Sunday in the plane.
Yes, well, and I was going to say that when it happened, you would like volunteer to go pick up Jace from daycare. So then, as I walked downstairs and it was like, "And Arsenal are the champs," I was like, "Oh, I feel like you should like be here right now." So try to be a good supportive wife.
Well, no, I was
hyped you up when you came home, sang the Arsenal song,
which I appreciate. I was watching the end of the game in the car. Like, I mean, I went, I watched the last few minutes in the car because at that point I was just like kind of like surreal, like this is gonna happen.
Yeah,
and that's what I kept talking about. Got buddies that some of them are City fans, Manchester City fans, or opposing teams fans, and some of them were like the other text chain with Nick, which mostly Arsenal fans. Where the general sense was, I just like couldn't believe it happened.
Yeah.
Like we've been talking about this. It happened before I was even a fan. I've been a fan for 20 years. I've always thought, I hope this would happen. And then the manner in which it happens is weird. Mm-hmm. And then there's just this surreal feeling of like, I can't believe there's one title. Like it's just bizarre and it's pretty cool.
I have another sports thought as we're talking about this, and I can't remember if we haven't done it on the podcast before. I can't remember if we have ever talked about it between you and I before. I can't stand games that end in PKs.
It's the worst way to decide a game.
I think that it should be completely redone. I think we should do away with PKs.
So would you be one of the people, a proponent of taking a player off the field to make him more likely to score? Like play 10v10 or 9v9 or just keep going?
1v1.
1v. Oh, you want the old MLS thing where it's
I
just
want
like
1v1. I want a goalie, and I want to go 1-on-1 at the goal, and you can do 5-and-5. But to just have it come down to one set piece shot PK is BS after all that goes into a soccer game and all that you have to do on the field to like score in the first place and field a team. Give me at least like 1-on-1.
So with you 1-on-1, you want the player to dribble from how far, and how does this? Because that's very rare.
Outside the 18, I think you start like midway, and then you get 1-on-1, and you just whatever. That's enough time that if you get beat as a defender, you can sprint back and try to get in front of the ball, and then you gotta.
Oh, you want 1-on-1 with a defender, not 1-on-1 with a goalie.
No, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I want 1-on-1 with the defender.
MLS went through this thing when they first started the league 22 years or whatever, 24 years ago, right after the '94 World Cup, where they would have the keeper 1-on-1. It was like a shootout in hockey.
No.
Where they would run at each other. Like he would be like a running start versus just straight PK.
Spar!
That's what I thought you were getting into.
No. I want literally 1-on-1 and a keeper.
Okay. I can get down with that.
So I want him probably to start, I don't know, midway between halfway in the 18. Find a set place there. And then defender, attacker, going 1-on-1. If you get beat, you have time to get back. But then you still have to score on the goalie, who is in more of a real soccer situation where I'm, preparing for whatever's coming, and then you're taking a shot on the move.
I can get down with that.
It feels more like soccer.
Well, so that's why PKs is the worst way to determine.
It's stupid. I hate it.
And
I don't mind a PK in the game. Like if you commit a foul in the box, that's a PK. Yeah. But to have the game be decided in sometimes big games, because you can end in regulation. Exactly.
Multiple World Cup finals.
Exactly. Like during the season, okay, you can end in regulation, but then when it all matters, we're going to be decided on PKs.
And that's a weird thing. People listening to this too are probably I assume mostly Americans, highly likely, and not and maybe some soccer fans, maybe not. But anybody that played soccer, by and large, you all hate that ending.
Yeah,
because it's just antithetical to what you just did for 90 minutes or 120 minutes, actually.
Exactly.
So, or it's just,
and it doesn't do anything. It doesn't show anything about who the actual better team is. Yeah. It's just, can you step up and deliver in that moment? Can the keeper step up and deliver in that moment? Can you not sail it over the crossbar or wide left or right? Yeah. I mean, I don't know how we get the momentum for this going, but I think that this is a really good idea that could potentially change soccer.
There's plenty of momentum to redoing it. More discussed at the international level is going down to like 9v9 or 8v8, which is still soccer, but in a less bodies out there. And you do play in times with 9 or 10 men.
Yeah, but that seems insane. Then what? We're going to every 5 minutes we take somebody off the field, and then by 20 extra minutes, people are way more gassed because they're playing a full field with like 7-on-7. Are you kidding me?
That's their point. It's like, so it's you're going to determine a winner, but in a manner by which soccer is still being played. You're still playing with teammates, but the level of physical and mental exhaustion is going to take hold, and somebody will score versus.
At that point, it's like the more fit team wins.
I'm down with your plan. I like your plan. I like where your head's at, because watching PKs, there's nothing more.
Reach out to the NWSL commissioner. Can we just send a little email? Hello, I have an idea that could potentially be good for the league.
Yeah, maybe. But people love it, the drama in it, watching sometimes, because there is.
This would still be dramatic, though.
But I'm not saying it wouldn't. I'm saying this is why it's hard. Like people that don't necessarily love the game or watch the game a lot love PKs, because there's just so much drama in it. You can easily connect with what has to happen.
It's stressful.
But it just sucks. And there's been, Roberto Baggio was the best player at the '94 World Cup. He was for Italy. He's forever remembered for piking that penalty. I'm talking, but he was like 10 yards north of the goal. It wasn't even close.
Been there, done that.
Well, the reason they got there was because of him. But he is remembered by even casual fans that were of a certain age in America. Probably watched that and can remember his name and his mullet. because he missed that shot.
Your brain and what you pull out of it never ceases to amaze
But
me.
that's for most people that are like global soccer fans. That's an easy one.
I think we should get a board that I can put behind you and write all of the big words that you say on there that you try to impress us with, and then put a little note for all those. Earlier, when you said matriculate, I thought of like, oh, we should have this. I had a word count going early on when we started the podcast.
Sweet.
Do you have any thoughts, feelings, emotions off the not top?
Off the not top. You go first. I feel like I always go first.
I know, because I always ask you. Thoughts, feelings, emotions. Thoughts are, I feel like it's already been a bit of a productive day. Got some laundry done. Kids off to school. Your has field day. Dace is doing his nieces today. So my thoughts are, I think it's going to be a good day. Which I guess kind of goes into my feelings of, I think I have a lot to do and a lot to catch up on. We had an awesome time in Charleston, and then getting to celebrate Little Dace Man, then came straight back, got to celebrate Little Dace Man more. And it's just been chaotic. You know, we came straight back to a party for a 2-year-old with a bunch of 2-year-olds, and just have I feel like I have a lot of catching up to do. My emotions are mostly centered on, I think, just the happiness and gratitude and emo-ness of Days turning 2.
Emo-ness.
Yeah. Put my words behind me on it. Oh, I'll do.
Your made up words. Emo-ness.
The emo-ness. You say matriculate and I say emo-ness. Which almost sounds like Elmo-ness. Yeah, for me, his second birthday was, you know, all the girlfriends that came over kept being like, how are you doing today? And I was trying to think about it. And like the first birthday, I feel like you're just like, cannot believe they're one. I was so emotional. Like, where has this year gone? I just was pregnant yesterday. How is my baby 1 year old? That's insane. And then when he turns 2, I just was like, how did you become a little human? It's just so different. I think for me, it was more about like looking back and seeing all the growth that he had from 1 to 2. I mean, he's telling us what he wants. He's talking full sentences. He's counting. He's doing all of these things every day. I feel like that surprised me or make me smile. Even this morning, it was so dumb when you walked in. He's like, "This is Daddy."
It was like, what kind of introduction was that? This is Daddy. I was like, yeah, bro, it is. What's going on here?
Hi, Dace. Good morning.
Well, that's funny. This is Daddy.
But for me, I think one of the like greatest joys of my life is getting to see all of the little ways his brain is growing and like the things he's thinking about. I love that he like lays in his bed and talks for like 30 minutes because I just like to listen to him because I'm obsessed with like what does a 2-year-old brain do? And he'll just like rattle off different things. This morning I always ask him like, what did you dream about? And usually he just says mommy, daddy, sissy, or daddy, mommy, sissy. How does he say? Daddy, sissy, mommy is what he usually says. And I think he probably said that one time and I thought it was so cute. Now he knows to say it every time because I like gave him a big reaction the first time. This morning I said, what did you dream about? He said, daddy, sissy, mommy, hap, grump. And I was like, oh, cute. You're thinking about more things. I don't know. It just makes me so happy seeing all the ways that he's growing, even though it makes me emo at the same time to think like, how is it possible that we have a 2-year-old?
Yeah. It's weird. You said this. It was really cool at work yesterday. They sent you out of the show. They ended with like a little happy birthday Dace and put some photos behind him. I thought that was a cool surprise they did.
That was really sweet.
But you said it earlier in your conversation right there, and you said it right on the TV too. I just noticed it. You're like, oh, my baby. It is. I don't know why when you have this, and I don't know if this is like a mother thing. It is like. There has to be a physiological difference, like because it was in you and born out of you. There's just. I don't know. I feel like I hardly ever say, I'll say my son or whatever. I don't know. He feels like he's still connected to you in a different way. And just the way you kind of articulate it there always makes it feel like I obviously love him forever. And he's my little guy, my little man. But I just watched you guys have him. I was just standing there. It's like there's I don't know. Sometimes when you say that, I almost feel it, you know, it's just different.
I didn't know if that was the end or if that was just the dramatic pause.
Well, I dropped my phone. And I was like, yeah, it was it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's how I'll describe him probably forever, and I'm sure he'll hate it in a couple of years.
Now my mom still does it with me, so I mean that's.
Yeah, I mean there is obviously like something not just like physiological, but that connection between mothers and their children. And it's pretty wild when you, you know, not to like go too off the rails, but like when you think about it, like that you are literally, when you are born as a woman, you are born with all of the eggs that you will ever have. So like when you are born from your mom, you have everything inside of you to have the children that you will have later on. So it is like it's carried on. And when we were, we haven't never talked on here, I don't think, about freezing my eggs, but I froze my eggs before we had dates, just in case. Who knows if we'll ever need those or if we will later. But going through that process, I learned more about it. And I was like, did I learn this when I was younger? And I didn't know, but I did not realize that like when you were born, you have, as a tiny little baby, you have all the eggs inside of you that you will ever have to have children with.
Which is crazy.
Which is why they say it's not like women's bodies can't have babies when they get older, but you have a period every month and you shed those eggs. So, you know, it's constantly going down. So it's not that we're old and decrepit. Just for the record, our bodies are very, very capable of many, many things.
Yours is virile.
Thank you.
Virile.
Virile. Put it on the board.
I think my virility is pretty good too.
You're virile.
That's interesting. No, I think that you said something else there about the eggs part. Oh, that's what I was saying. Like, this is weird. Totally random. Not random. It's about the same topic, I guess. But yesterday just popped in my head. I'm like, should we hope for twins? Like, should I be hoping for twins if we could have another baby? I think just want to be, if we could do 2 and done, but I'm like mentally and physically, I don't know how that would work out, but we'd take anything right now, but I'm just saying,
yes.
For some reason, I popped in my head, like, what would that look like? And you know, when I get into what I look like, my head spirals like 8 different years, and I'm looking at like 24.
I mean, I'm sure it's chaotic, and anybody with twins is like, that's cute. You think that you would want twins, but I just think in my brain that would be so cool and so fun. I always wanted to be a twin too. Brian and I, my sister's 15 months older than I, we grew up so close it felt like we were twins, and people often thought that we were twins because I was so advanced, obviously. No, I didn't talk until I was like 4 because she talked for me, which is ironic now because I talk all the time. But I just always thought it would be so fun to be a twin. And then now that, you know, when we went in even for Dace's ultrasound or, you know, other ones, and then you're always like, what if it was twins? I mean, maybe if we don't get pregnant for a while and we have to do something with the eggs and
That's
IVF, we just like go for 3. Just put 3 in there just to make sure, see what happens. And
I don't know how they do it, but I don't know if I don't know if I want to go for 3, but 3 can happen. 3 can happen.
Triplets. TFEs, now that I have you all in your head about potentially having 3 children at a time.
My goodness. That might be part of my thoughts, feelings, emotions. So thoughts, I also am excited about the day and the weekend ahead. I think we actually have some time to be home. And we touched on this a little bit last time when you and I were talking.
Not the weekend. You know, I'm working Saturday, Sunday.
Saturday too? Oh, that's right. Yeah, you leave. That's right. But it's Saturday. It's not like a late shift. I thought it was like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock.
Yeah, no. I'm just mentally prepared.
I know you got to leave, but I like when you come back. When you're gone till like 1 a.m., it feels like a night to myself, like, which I'm not dying for, sitting here in the house by myself. But it's nice when you're still going to be here. We have some of the day. We have some time, and I think tomorrow as well. We have time on Friday. Today I get to go golfing. You know, that always excites me. So there's a lot of things that I think that are
sure
good.
Does.
But I'm excited. Like, I was looking, like, the next month. I do. Every time I keep thinking things are going to be a little slower or more, it never works out that way. In my heart, I believe like June is going to be like a little more time at home after the first 2 weeks. I think the back half of June, like, we don't have multiple weeks where we're just home. Like, there's nothing on that's, now we are going to a World Cup game, which I'm super pumped about, so that is something in June, but that's me and you doing it. It's like, I feel like there's always a work thing. There's always something that's taken us somewhere else. So maybe I'm wrong, but anyway, I'm going to enjoy it right now. I'm excited about the next couple days.
Do you want me to burst your bubble or just like let you go with June?
Fire away.
Well, we have World Cup, and then I potentially have College World Series, and then I have Special Olympics.
All right.
Dramatic pause.
Put in my place. I'm excited about this weekend. The next couple of days I cannot wait for. I'm very excited about
June will be slower, big picture, I think.
Yeah,
sorry to take over your
Who knows?
TFEs.
Okay.
Can I just pause you for 1 second? Because as you were saying that, it just kind of reminded me of something. Because I've told the story about how I'd write in my journal, and I'd be like, things are great, da-da-da-da, life's crazy, it'll slow down. This is happening, da-da-da-da, everything's crazy, it'll slow down. Like, life doesn't just slow down. Yeah. I think that's part of like what you and I maybe have to work on being even more intentional about, is like, if there are things that we want to accomplish or do or prioritize, then we have to make life slow down.
Yeah.
Because I think we're really good at planning different things and how do we fill up the time. And maybe that's a little reality check for us that like time is going to keep ticking, which is a blessing, but we have to make it slow down when we want it to.
Good point. I think you're right. I think there's also, if there's things I want to accomplish or do, or we want to accomplish or do, or you want to accomplish or do, that we have to prioritize in the right regard. So, good point. So back to my sobering next couple of days I'm excited about. Feelings within that. I think, like, I do think this was maybe, listeners could, I think the last couple of weeks I've not been as positive as I want to be, or is looking at the world the way I want to. And maybe that came through in the podcast last week, thinking about Dace's birthday and what we're going to do in Charleston and then come back here. It was a lot, but ultimately it was fun. I feel like we do, like, and we enjoyed it, and Dace and Lyra had memories, your family had, like, we created memories and had a really good time, despite, the day we had the party here, like, I don't think you sat down from the moment you woke up until 10 or 11 o'clock at night. You were okay with me doing yoga while he napped for an hour, and I went and did that. That lady kicked my ass, and then I didn't sit down for the rest of the day. Like, there's a physical exhaustion there, but there's a reason. There's a reason why we're doing it, and I think my feeling right now is to try. I feel very buoyed. I feel positive, and I want to carry that forward. I think you do a great job of finding the fun. Like, I'm always want to do fun things. Like, I'm talking about let's go to the beach on Lyra's last day of school, or let's do. You find fun in the mundane. You find fun in the pain sometimes. You find fun and you always like your phrase beauty with the beauty amongst chaos. You're good at that. I don't know if I'm good at that, and I need to make myself be better and not get, when the things are back to back and are stressed out or we're doing a lot, continue to always find the positive in it. And I feel like I kind of want to carry that feeling forward and take a little bit of your vibe and definitely leave a lot of my vibe on the sidelines. So I've kind of felt that all morning, since I've kind of got up. I feel very, even yesterday a little bit to some extent. And I think we had a real conversation last night, which I think in how my headspace was 2 weeks ago, I think that would have derailed the night versus being we could be productive, we can have a conversation like we have for a long time. Basically, I felt like I was out of my sorts. I wasn't operating in the same space that I had been for a long time. So I think that was that awareness was important, and I think that recognition is important, and seeing how you handle some of the stuff that we do, I think is helpful for me to kind of keep that top of mind. So my feeling is I feel very buoyed. I feel positive. I feel excited, despite the June is not going to be the June that I thought, and I just found that out. And my emotions are I kind of I have an eagerness, a desire to kind of, I don't know if it's chart a different path, but just make sure that I feel a little refreshed. Maybe that's the word. I feel like there's a refreshed space I'm in right now, and I want to kind of carry that forward.
I love that. Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know that I feel like I'm always as positive as I want to be, or as fun as I want to be, or
if your partner wasn't an anchor on your ankles, sometimes I think you would be more so. But go ahead.
I don't think that that's true. I think we balance each other out well. I think you, not bring me down, but you sometimes bring me back to earth in a way that I probably need, about different things, whether I get riled up about something that I'm mad about, or whether I get too high on an idea that I have.
I sound like a complete downer. I'm crushing your hopes and dreams. That idea you have, I just destroy.
Well, no, I feel
like I ask questions.
I should have just said no, despite the fact that we have this awesome backyard. We are going to have all of the things out to the side yard because they are 2 years old, and everybody's going to be in this place chasing the 2-year-olds. I should have just said that, but I was trying to compromise and listen and be like, yeah, maybe people will be back here. Great backyard. And then it only meant that you had to carry the boat back through the forest to get back out there later.
Yeah, but I wasn't even mad about that.
No, you were mad.
I moved all the food out there by myself because I'm this doesn't make any sense.
I know. I turn around and see you walking out there with the table.
There's where I think is interesting, in our relationship sometimes. I feel like sometimes, and maybe it's more recently, my like general vibe, you might be acquiescing on things that you don't need to, or you shouldn't. Like there wasn't like we were having that discussion. I love our backyard. Everybody that sees it likes the backyard too. It's a really one of the best parts of our house. TV out there, like a outdoor
Great
setup.
backyard.
It's an outdoor setup to like hang out. But
It is.
as your point, more adults, or if the kids are watching something, people are eating. It's a certain hangout environment. I like people the ability to sit down and be there, but that's not realistic with their age. You said, like, I mean, I don't know if they're really going to go out there. I'm like, well, I would really like people to be back here too. You could be like, you might like it, but it's not real. Like, that's fine. Like, it's just not going to happen. Which, got it. Like, I mean, once we decided to move both bounce houses, we had one. We got another one for the party.
And it was a great addition to the party.
Phenomenal addition. Once we moved both bounce houses out front, yes, that was going to dominate everything. So, I guess my general thing is, my vibe can't change your rationality sometimes. Like, you don't need to don't really need to compromise on shit that doesn't make sense. Like, you can push, baby, and you do push a lot of times. So that was a weird one to compromise on. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. I got to fix this.
Yeah. I think that and you're not some like negative person, and you're not an anchor. I mean, you're an anchor like in a good way. Like, you anchor me in good ways, but you're not like something that like brings me down. Which is why I do think the last couple of weeks when you have been, and it's not like consistent, but you have been kind of off. I think I probably also have to do a better job of managing my emotions, not just based off of yours. I think it's really hard for me as an empathetic person and someone who loves and cares about you so much that if something is weird with you, I need to know what it is, and not that I necessarily need to fix it, but I need to know what I can do to like help make it better. Mm-hmm. Like, cause it's a you thing. So I might not can fix it, but if I can't like grasp what it is or can't understand or comprehend or, it doesn't make sense, then I think it's harder for me. And then I let that affect me as well, which is probably, not the healthiest thing either. Cause you have to be able to separate, my emotions from yours. Mm-hmm. But I do think that is just like a big part of who I am, is that I kind of like, if you're not happy, I do want to fix it. Or if you're annoyed, I want to make it better. Or if someone says something dumb about you, I'm going to defend it, or whatever it is.
Who said that? Who are we talking about?
Who knows?
Okay.
Come on. So I think for me, like, there is like, I don't know, just this like, protective's not the right word. It's just like this like internal care, deep care that I have for you. So, a couple of weeks ago when you came home from being at the driving range and you were like in a grumpy mood when you came home, I'm like, well, what the hell? I thought you were going to be like totally rejuvenated. It's a beautiful day and you just went out and hit balls for 2 hours. Like, why did you come back in a crap mood? We end up talking, like, not full. I mean, we talked that night, but not getting it out until like the next day that, like, you were kind of bummed that you weren't at the golf event in Vegas. And to me, immediately I felt better. I was like, that makes sense to me why you would walk in the door in a bad mood. But not knowing that, I'm like, did he get an email that made him mad? Like, what happened? Like, why is, like, did I say something that made him mad? So maybe it's something that I need to work on too, is not like being as affected by you. If it's a negative, like a time where you're feeling bad, and it doesn't happen often. And that's why I think it like derails me more. Cause usually you would just be like, I'm so annoyed about this, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, yes, you are very empathetic. I do think that inherently in most relationships, and if your partner is, something's going on, the other person wants to know. Same thing, like, you were walking around, you'd want to know. I'd want to know. You just don't tend to be like in a glum or negative space without something clearly bothering you that like happened. Well,
I'm an open book, so I'm like, here's what I'm mad about.
And you will say it right
here's
away.
How
For some reason, sometimes it takes me a while to chew on it. Sometimes I'm just, especially last week, just been annoyed at stuff. I don't know. I just been, whatever it's been. I was just being, like I said earlier, like more negative headspace. And I know that without being able to articulate it, all I'm doing is driving you crazy. And then my mood is bringing that's where the anchor is. My mood is bringing you down. And it's not what I want to have that feeling like in the house. So that's not the vibe I want to have or make others have. So Yeah, I mean, there are times where I can clearly put my finger on it and say what the deal is. There are times I can't. And there are times in the last couple of weeks, which is not antithetical to what we've done. I just didn't feel like talking about it. And that's shit I used to do. And that's shit you can't. Like, those are, lazy old habits. And there are things that are wired in me to be that way. And I feel like I've spent time and effort to unwire them and have a partner that's allowed me or helped me do that. Help me, as we've said many times in this pod, pull it out of me. Like, it's still not all completely natural. And I think in the last couple, I've gotten in the space in the last couple of weeks of just holding more in than of normal. And that's definitely not what we've done. It's not why we do this pod, but it's like a reminder that, it's an ever growing, it's a everyday process. Like, our whole marriage and life and relationship and partnership is an everyday, work. And that's a good thing. And that's got to remain, that effort has to be put in, the certain thoughts and feelings and emotions that we put into that, and they have to be done like in a productive manner. If they don't, things suffer for that. So that's just the realization. As great as our relationship is, it still requires everyday work. And if you don't do that things every day, you start to feel different, and that's not good.
I think it's the whole reason that like we like TFE so much is because we used to just do it as like a way. It started as a way to like draw things out, and then it was like a way to connect and like touch base. And I've seen different people online talk about different things that they do. This one girl, Cody Sanchez, talks about the team. It's like touch, emotion. I can't remember all of them off the top of my head, but I sent it to you like a long time ago. So everybody has their different things, but I think the commonality in all of it is that like you do have to be intentional about like making time for each other. And that doesn't, in my opinion, necessarily mean like, a date night, but like if we're not sitting talking, because that's something that we talked about last night. We're like, we've been around each other a lot, but I don't know that we've had like intentional quality time with each other in the last couple of weeks. And I think that adds to it too. We're in a season of life where we thought it was going to be slower after basketball season. It hasn't yet. Kids running around, work, life, all of these things that we're trying to juggle and keep whatever the glass balls in the air and not let those shatter. But I think that finding a way for you and I to continue to have that, even if it's like quality moments, I don't think it has to be hours at a time or some extravagant plan. I think for me, knowing that I'm thought of goes a long way. And so whether that's like, you started writing me my notes every day, and those still make me so happy whenever I see those, or if it's like, hey, let's do this together. Like, to me, there's joy just like in being thought of outside of the action of like whatever we actually do. And so I think that is something that carries a lot of weight for me and helps me feel like more grounded with us when that's happening.
You saying that, I think, actually helped me put my finger on what was going on the last couple of weeks. I think I've just been pretty selfish when I think about it. Like, like you mentioned the notes and stuff like that. There was and I brought 4 of them with us to Charleston. They're in my backpack. Didn't pull them out. Didn't write them. Didn't think about you. And that's kind of a shitty thing to admit, but it's like, just, I think I've been in my own shit, and that's not in a positive way, where I know that's what you like want and need. And I thought, like, I think it was Valentine's Day when I got those for you. And I've been pretty diligent, and I think it's a good like reminder it's like, not sad but true, but it's a reminder to me every day to stop and pause and read the note, write you a note and tell you what I'm thinking or feeling, or how much I love you, or how grateful I am for you, whatever it may be. Or sometimes they're silly too. Whatever. It's whatever. Maybe I know it'll give you a smile or something. I haven't delivered on that in the same way the last couple of weeks. I think that's kind of, it's a small thing, but I think it's indicative of the bigger issue that's been like going on with me, that's been selfish. And some of that also comes to when you talk about the quality time. Like, I feel like a lot of times I'll look at certain days, weeks ahead, and be like, we should do it. I know it doesn't have to be a date night, but I get excited about that. Or just a night like tomorrow night. Part of what I'm excited is I know we have nothing to do after we put Days to bed, so we could have dinner and we can just hang out. Whatever. It's like just spending that time without an activity plan, without something we have to do, or out having to get ready, just to be together. I feel like those days were lacking, and I wasn't looking for the times to squeeze them in, to prioritize and be like, well, we need to do this here. Like you mentioned the day I went to the driving range. it's probably a bad day to do that. Like, we could have used the time to maybe we should have gone to lunch or sat on the couch, took a nap together. I don't know, whatever it could have been. So I hear you, and I do think that those times are really important, obviously. And I feel like there was times which I'm usually better at doing that. And I feel like I'm a very scheduled person, obviously. I think you do know that. Like, I look at my scheduled days in advance. I don't know if you do the same thing with your own or with mine, I guess. Like, I feel like I may know where you're at. So I feel like the onus on me a lot of times to do that. But that is me thinking of you and thinking of us to be like, all right, where do we fit in, you know? And I think that's something that maybe I thought, again, because the basketball season was going to be over, it'd be easier, and it just got harder. But this just is our life, and these things just have to be done to make sure that you're happy, I'm happy, and we're happy, and we have time to spend, whether that's doing something fun or just staring at each other's eyes.
I appreciate that, babe. I think that, I guess, like, to be like real candid, part of what we talked about last night, and I think it's good to realize in relationships, friendships, marriage, like, wants and needs of the other person. And one of the things that we talked about last night is quality time with us, and then also time to ourselves to do other things and prioritize other things. And I think you're someone who, of all, does a better job of planning things for yourself, with your friends. Like, you're like, I'll put 10 people that don't know each other on a group chat and be like, hey, let's go to the bar for this Arsenal thing. I know Nick is more of the
Nick organized, but
Nick is the organizer here, but still, my
I don't know
point is, like, you've done that with other things. And you're happy to jump in, and you're not going to overthink it. Is it going to be awkward, or will people get along, or like whatever? You'll just go do it. And so I think for you, like, you're good at being intentional about that when there is time. And that's not like saying that you're not intentional about us. But for me, like you mentioned, the driving range day, when we realized we were going to have time that day and it was a beautiful day, we hadn't talked about it at all, like what we were going to do. In my head, I was like, oh my God, it's so nice. Maybe while Day snaps, we'll go sit out on the back deck. We'll like hang out. We'll just do something out there and spend a little time like in the sun, since he's napping, we can't go to the beach. And then you said that you wanted to go to the driving range. And I was like, oh, okay. Now, to me, in that moment, it wasn't like, it was, you haven't played golf in forever. You talk about golf all the time, in a little bit of a mood. And I was like, okay, he's going to go do that. And I did. I laid out. I listened to my audiobook. I enjoyed the sun, got a little bit of sun, day snapped, good day all around. But I thought it was an interesting thing when we talked about it last night to point out that, like, my brain went to like, okay, we have like 2 hours. Let's go sit in the sun. And then your brain in that particular time, it's not a reflection of you always. So don't think that I'm saying that you never like think about us. But you went to, I'm going to go hit some balls on the golf course. And so I think it's like recognizing that is probably good for both of us, because I need to recognize that, like, big picture, I need to do more things for myself. And it is good. I need to plan trips and lunches and whatever with my friends. I need to do these things more. And maybe a good realization for you too, that when there are pockets, that it doesn't have to be you looking 10 days ahead and planning a date night. Like, what are we doing with the little time we have? And for me, recognizing like that is an act of love, an act of service, like that you're doing, looking in the calendar, like that's how you operate. And that's how you feel like you are also serving me by doing that. And I need to give that more weight, and probably do it more for you too.
Yeah, you can. I no problem with that. I think your assessment is right. And I do think that in the last couple of weeks, and maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I would have looked at that time period and said, well, we're going to have something we should do. But I didn't. And that's like I said, it was kind of like a product of the times, but it's not like that's not in me anyway. So it's like being aware of that and making sure to also, I think part of what have made, like, even, I don't think I mentioned to you, like, I was looking at tomorrow on the calendar till last night. Like, I looked at that weeks ago. I should have said, but because we didn't have a plan, I didn't put anything on the calendars. A lot of times I'll put date night or something on there, so it's like, what we're doing, or know we're doing something. Like, don't plan anything. But again, that was kind of like a lack of communication. That's in my head, but if you're not looking ahead to the Friday. I need to tell you, like, hey, this is time for us. Like, that's exciting. And we can do nothing or something or whatever.
Can I just pause you for 1 second? Because I think that's one of the biggest like resentments that can come in marriage and relationships is like expecting that you read my mind or know what my thoughts are and vice versa.
Yeah, we've talked about that for sure.
Because you're excited about that and thinking that this could be something good. Whereas I'm sitting over here saying like, well, when are we ever going to like have this plan? And you already have a plan in your head and we haven't communicated it. So we're like looking at the same thing and coming from completely different spaces because we just haven't said whatever the quiet part, good, bad, and different out loud.
Yeah. That's why I think in the last couple of weeks, I feel like we've been around each other a lot. We have not been aligned a lot, and we've not been able to find the quality time, which I think this is all kind of cyclical. We haven't found the time, or I haven't maybe prioritized the time. So you're around each other, but you're not, valuing that. You're not, prioritizing that. You're not, connected in that. We're just doing the things together over and on, all these different things, which is not how we've typically lived our relationship. So maybe that's part of why it has felt different the last couple of weeks.
When you realize that, like, what part of that I guess was through therapy yesterday that you kind of felt this, and then do you think that you would have come to that realization on your own, like this feeling that you have now without that?
It's a great question. Part of why therapy is really helpful, and we've said this about our pod too at times, that within our lives, it's the time to pause, to assess, and to think, and to talk about things. When we're doing this together, sometimes you have, like we just did earlier, well, I think that was being selfish. Like there's some realizations personally, but there's sometimes realizations collectively. When it's therapy, it's just my shit. And it's like, I feel like all therapy is for so many times, it's just a mirror. The therapist is holding a mirror up to yourself and giving you a different perspective on your own life. And I'd like to think I'd come to that realization or that thought, but there were a couple things that she said within that had stuck with me. Like you have to have fun through all of, like, you got to find the fun. Like it's a tough life stage, but there's a lot of fun things we are planning or just doing. There's a lot of laugh and love, and like that's what you need to be valuing, not any of the negative stuff. It's, as she did say, it sometimes becomes a narrative in my head. Like something, when I don't talk enough, I'm making shit up in here. I'm psycho, I guess, in that regard. I don't know if everybody knows that, but that's happening. So that's an old habit that can't happen again. And that, I think, it had been 3 weeks since I had a session with her. Things were too busy. It was almost a month. And I think that's a good reminder that, like, you gotta, stay attentive to yourself and what's going on, and stay attentive to the things that have given you a good foundation to be a good partner, to have a great marriage, to have the life that I've wanted and you've wanted. There were foundational changes that I had to make to be able to do that, and to lose sight of those things is problematic. And I think that with the realization of come, I imagine, because it wasn't like, I don't think anything dire or drastic. It just was not the same as it has always been. Mm-hmm. So maybe I would have, but I don't know. I do think that therapy is just really helpful. And in that hour, when you can start to say stuff, somebody can hold up that mirror and give you a different perspective and be like, that is right. That is right.
I think it's amazing sometimes how much the little things can very quickly become big things, or sometimes over time, good or bad. Like I always talk about, I need the little things, and they go a long way positively. But I also feel like when you let those little things fester, like we're saying over the last 2 weeks, and like you said, things haven't been bad. They just have been, like, at times a little more tension in the room, or at times a little more snappy with each other. And, there were still times when if we were snappy, we'd, say we're sorry or acknowledge it. It wasn't like for 2 weeks we didn't acknowledge that things were just like felt a little bit off. But I think without slowing down to like put our finger on it, those little things do stack up and eventually, start building like a wall and a wedge in between you faster than you realize. And, I do think it takes someone being willing, like, to break that wall down. Like even last night, I think when we had like that moment of conversation at the table, and then we were still kind of a little bit annoyed and we were going up to put Lyra to bed. I think when we walked up there, you like grabbed me and made a joke at one point, and then I came over to kiss you. I feel like even those little things to just be like, okay, that was like a moment of tension, but like here, we don't want that to be any more than this. I think that goes a long way too.
Yeah, 100%. I feel weird asking this because I know your family listens to it, but we don't tend to get this explicit.
Okay.
If we weren't physically intimate through this period of time, that would be a serious red flag, I think, in our.
Yeah.
Like, I think we like that is something that has not happened, but I know that happens to couples.
Yeah.
If that would have happened, I think that's when you say, would you have come to the realization on my own? That means for us, like, something's really freaking dire. Like, we've got a real problem. So that, I think, was, interesting. And as you said that, I was like, yeah, there's a physical nature to our relationship that is part of what we both love and want. And if that doesn't exist, then I think that would be, I think I'd figure shit out on my own then.
To take it one step further, I mean, earmuffs, mom and dad, or whoever else is listening, aunts, uncles, whatnot. I think like they're not to like put a number on it because every couple's different, every relationship's different, and we go through different phases. But there was a stretch of like 4 or 5 days but we were talking about plans to be like, we were like making jokes about like, this is insane. Like, when are we going to have time? So I think that, why are you smiling like that?
I'm smiling because you took you co-opted my, am I ever going to play golf again line? Which was a joke, but it had been 34 days. To you being like, are we ever going to have sex again? Fair point. Yeah. All right. Here we go. All right.
And like 3 days in, we're making a joke about it. But I think, to your point, I think especially even if we weren't like saying during the day, if we weren't like acknowledging that and talking about it, then that, I know for me, would have put me in my feelings even more, and in my head. For you, it would have definitely put you in your feelings even more. But I think even like acknowledging it, because we were in this crazy season, we were home staying at my parents. We came straight back. Yeah. And then we come straight back and are here with the kids and the party. I think not acknowledging that for us, like not even an elephant in the room, like that, like big overlying thing. If we were not talking about it too, then I think that would be a bigger thing for us as well.
For sure, because then I think like that would reflect honestly on our communication was having a breakdown. Like we were in a state of distress, not just because there was the lack of physical intimacy, but if we're not talking about that too, that is antithetical to anything we've ever done in this relationship. So that would be like, that'd be like crisis, red bells going off or whatever, sirens. That's the word I'm looking. Sirens being like, yo, we need to fix this now. We're never gonna get there.
I hope not.
Better not.
I mean, yeah, I think obviously relationships go through different seasons, and I don't want anybody to ever listen to this and be like, wow, that's crazy. Like, I'm failing in these areas because I'm not doing X, Y, Z, or, oh my God, like some false narrative. We're lucky that I truly feel like we're lucky that because, and you said this to me early on, because we are so emotional, or I think I made it clear to you from something you said early on, because we are so emotionally connected that the physical side is that much stronger. And I think that when you don't have that like emotional vulnerableness and connectivity with your partner, then the physical intimacy is just not as strong. It's not as meaningful. It's not as strong. I think it goes hand in hand. So I think that we are not just lucky, but because we are so intentional about like being connected, that like on an emotional level, that makes the physical level that much more meaningful.
Yeah, when you said that blew my mind. I was pretty early on, and I'm like, what the hell is this? Wow. Is that what's going on here? Is that what's happening here?
I can't really remember what exactly.
You're like, maybe because we're so emotionally connected that sex is so good. And I said, holy shit. Is that what's happening? Is this what can happen?
See what TFEs can do for you guys.
Familiar with this situation.
I was unfamiliar with your game.
Well, that's the thing that
no notes.
No notes. I hope people that listen don't think like the whole point of this pod actually is like we definitely don't have it figured out. I don't have it figured out. It's a constant process.
Yeah, we've just talked for almost an hour about how we haven't had it figured out the last 2 weeks. But here's what helps us figure it out.
And I do think that this like I forget what I was going to say now, but the physical lack of like the physical piece of it, like whenever you first said that to me, I mean, it was mind blowing, but that ultimately is true. And I'm saying a lot of these things from my own failings in life prior to meeting you, in a marriage prior to you. Like, anything I talk about, I feel like on this thing is all because of all only things I've screwed up or effed up or don't do well or have deficiencies or have issues. So it's like acknowledging all of those things that are real and present and were and had to change or are constant change. So it's like, not like having anything figured out, far from it, but it's also like I'm always comparing what we have now and being aware of the shortcomings to what was before in my life. And not just in the marriage, like as a younger, partner to other people and like way back, and like carrying that all forward to today. And I think that's like an important realization that I don't think I ever really made at a younger age.
Well said. I had another thought, but I don't even know if I want to go there right now.
Wow.
What?
I would love to know. I want to know what it is.
I was just thinking, someone told me before, this is loaded and I hadn't fully fleshed it out in my head yet. So let me try and make sense of it all. I often talk about, like, I waited a long time to get married and find the right person. Mm-hmm. I always knew that I wanted to be married. I always knew that I wanted to have a family, but I knew that I wanted a partner for life. I wanted someone that made me better. I wanted someone that I felt like I could be additive to their life, that I could be loved in the right ways, that I would be excited to raise a family with, that I would be excited to be physically intimate with for the rest of my life. And that was, it sounds silly, but a big part of it too, because I think in marriage so often you're like, okay, well, things change, and how do you stay like physically and emotionally connected to someone? And it's something that I think we talked about a lot from the beginning, but I had you hear couples all the time talk about, the lack of sex or what it's like once you've been married for a long time, or had someone say, oh, just wait, one day it'll be 10 years in and you'll be missing it. And I was like, no, that's why I'm not married. Cause I am waiting for someone that I feel like I can find ways that in 10 years, I'm still so excited that is the person. And sometimes I think that means like protecting us and like making sure that you do things to like keep us sacred and, not, even letting other people in. But I think it's more about like what we do together to make sure that like we are connected and emotionally and intimately and all those things. But for me, that was such a big part of like, no, that's not what I want. Like, I am waiting to find the person for all of the things that I want. That's going to be the husband, the father, the partner, the leader, the provider, the emotionally supportive, communicative person. And the sex is going to be there forever too. So.
And you sacrificed none of those, babe. You got it. With all my flaws. Boatload of them.
But I have a boatload of flaws too. I feel like you're like self-deprecating and not in a way that I like, so that I'll build you up on here. But
you don't need to build me. I got blood flow going right now. You're good.
Jesus Christ. You gotta go by. Just kidding. But I feel like you're very reflective on this podcast, and especially this one in particular over the last couple of weeks. But I think it's a joint thing, and there are a lot of things that I screw up and don't do right and don't have figured out. But I think the beauty of it is we are constantly trying to figure it out together, and we're not afraid to admit our flaws. Like, say when we were wrong with the other person or in life, or the lessons that we've learned and the things that we've screwed up along the way, which again makes you be able to be more emotionally vulnerable if you're not living in this world where everything has to be perfect. Yeah. And I don't think everything's going to be perfect all the time. 10 years from now, I'm sure are going to be days where I'm like, get out of my bed. You're annoying me.
I mean, that probably happens already.
Just kidding.
I'm going to try to, with a high level of vanity, try to maintain my physical structure as long as possible, just for you, babe. That's what we're going to the gym for. Boom.
When I was pregnant, I was like, I'm going to keep doing squats just so that my booty stays big while my belly's getting bigger.
Amazing. Your ratio of booty to belly was amazing, babe. Amazing booty to belly ratio. I was going somewhere real with that, but
we're so weird.
Oh no, you know what I think helps too, though, and this is also, I think, like just maturity in life, but it was like painful for me at certain relationships to say sorry, like painful if I was actually sorry. And then most times I would just say I'm sorry because that's what the person wanted to hear, and just I wanted to shut down the conversation. I like you're really good at accepting a sorry. Like you're really good at like when I feel like when I apologize for something, it makes you go introspective and be like, well, I could have done this differently too. To maybe we didn't end up at the same place, or maybe there wasn't this thing, which just makes it a less. I mean, it shouldn't be that big a deal, but it's sometimes. This is also like learned through failure is, when you're like at scorecard level about who's sorry for this or who did what to who, and you're like, it's completely unhealthy. So even letting that build up at all is bad. You're really good at just if I say, I really wish I'd done this, or I'm sorry, that like you always find a way to say like, all right, well that's great, but I also could have done this, or I could have, and it just makes it turn into a conversation that I think just is a more like positive ground to be far from perfect.
I thank you. Hopefully that kind of opens the door to, I think, bigger conversations with us when sometimes you have like a childlike thing in you where you like want to revolt against certain things that are easy. Like, yeah, you know that you want to say sorry, but I'm not going to do it right away. Or you know that you should do this. You kind of like to push the buttons a little bit sometimes. But I feel like you've gotten away from that mostly. And so, but I do you've said that too. You do feel like the answer is yes and you're going to say no just because like your mom told you that you needed to. For me, when I was younger, growing up in the South, it was yes ma'am, no sir. And I remember as a teenager, if my parents did something that made me mad or I was in trouble for something, my mom told me to do something, it was a very hard yes. And she would be like, yes what? And it was like saying yes ma'am was like fire was going to like burn me everywhere because I was so mad. I didn't want to say that. I feel like that was how with like little things that you would be sometimes. The sorry thing is interesting because as you were saying that, Dace apologizes all the time.
I know he does.
Almost too, and I'm like, no, like, buddy, that was not even your fault. Like, is this a bad thing that he says sorry to the chair because he ran into it and he's worried that he hurt the chair, or sorry to the dog because the dog barked at him, or, whatever it is. That's an interesting thing because I like he's 2, so he doesn't know. He
ain't getting that from me. So
he does apologize very quickly, and sometimes when it's not even his fault. So maybe we need to figure that out with him because I don't want him always thinking everything's his fault. We probably need to figure out him kissing people in the mouth too. A little bit more.
Mom said Belle wanted more of it. That's what I thought I heard afterwards.
Belle did want more. Then JJ and Ronan were leaving and he was insisting on giving JJ a kiss on the mouth. And then Ronan, little 1-year-old baby, kept trying to turn his head, and Dace grabbed him 2 hands to turn his face towards him so he could kiss him on the mouth. Okay. So I was joking with it.
My man's getting around.
I was joking with my mom about it, but I really do think like we are such a loving family. Like everybody kisses everybody. Everybody loves everybody. You show it. You express it. You kissed your aunts,
the mouth
uncles.
Kisses were not a thing in my family. We didn't kiss much anything outside of mom. That was all you.
Yeah.
Mom.
And to be clear, I'm not like kissing my aunts and uncles and cousins on the mouth.
Nobody's making out, but I have thought, I'm like, this mouth kiss thing has to end with him. Like he's becoming 2. He's like, I love him forever. I'm not kissing him on the mouth.
I am. I'll kiss him on the mouth forever. I'll be Tom Brady going viral because I'm like, come give me a kiss.
I mean, it's each their own. I don't think I'm going to be kissing my son at 4 or 5 months, 4 or 5 years old on his mouth.
I will.
You
4 or 5, he's still a baby.
I can kiss his forehead, his cheek, his head.
He's still my baby.
There we go. I can kiss him anywhere I want. I don't have to plant one on his mouth, though. Especially the way he does it. He opens his mouth and he's like...
a Dace kiss.
Yeah, but the people don't know the Dace. I mean, he's coming in full mouth open.
Yeah, it's very sweet. I do think I'm going to start teaching him about kissing people on the cheek so that with others, and especially with germs, because I'm always scared about him getting sick, we should be kissing people on their cheeks.
There you go. It's a big note.
Last thing, I have something to admit.
By all means.
I am not good at doing things small.
Yeah, we all know this. Did you have something else what else happened?
That was it. It was profound.
It's not profound. It's we just talked about knowing your own shit. This is one of your things. So let's lock into that.
I tried to do a small party.
We had this conversation last week on the pod. And if anybody wants to go back and listen to that one, you could tell where some of as I said, wasn't the best headspace. some of my curmudgeonness was coming out because I knew we were coming back. Going to have a bigger party on Friday in Charleston than we anticipated, and a bigger party when we came home, for sure. Not just that. We had to ask our neighbors to put stuff in the house, and you made the point, hey, you got to ask Jack. You got to ask. All right, okay. I kept forgetting. I finally do. I thought I was asking Jack to bring in like 2 boxes. One of those boxes with the sailboat was in it was 10 feet tall. Mm-hmm. Had to weigh 50 pounds. Mm-hmm. The inflatable weighed 40 pounds. Mm-hmm. Like we came home, there was just stuff everywhere, mm-hmm. and we had to ask other people to put it in our house. It was,
which was a poor reflection of me because I had all this stuff in my cart for days and I did not pull the trigger. By the time I pulled the trigger, it was going to be delivered Thursday, and it was not delivered Thursday by the time we left in the morning. So really poor reflection on me. Just buy the stuff when you're ready to buy the stuff so that you can plan in advance, hide it from your husband, and then you don't have to ask your neighbors to bring it. I'm just kidding. I compared to parties I've thrown in the past, money-wise, time-wise, it was a lot less. But I did think we were just having what?
But again, the comparative to what you've done in the past is insanity to just like the most.
No, because remember we said that you're going to have a better attitude about things that are fun and finding the joy in it. It's not insane. It was so fun.
In retrospect, outside of building the sailboat, which I didn't have to do because I fell asleep on the couch and you were letting me sleep as you hammered and drilled and did all the man things, which was great.
How impressive is it that you were literally sleeping through like 60 screws going in with a drill?
For those listening here,
right beside me, I'm building a whole ass sailboat.
Okay, so we had your friend, we had Carly and Hunter's engagement.
Nobody
party
needs to know what the lead up is.
So we had a late night Saturday. I had a 6 a.m. flight from Charleston, connecting through Atlanta to California to LA. 6 a.m. land there at 11. Do this work thing we're doing all day, night. Go to bed around 1 a.m. Pacific time. So I've been up almost 24 hours at that point in time. Wake up at 4 a.m. to get on a 6 a.m. flight back to JFK. Your boy had slept 6 hours in 3 nights.
Way.
He was tired. And his wife's amazing. Didn't bitch at him at all. Just let him fall asleep on the couch and kept making her sailboat for her son.
And you're not a handyman. You said how you came down, you're like, looks like we're going to be doing this together, huh? And I was like, well, that would be great. Should you choose to help? Then you're like, okay, I'm ready to help. And I was like, okay, I don't need you right now. Sit down. You sat down on the couch. You enjoyed it. And then I said, okay, wait, I need a hand. And you got up. You stood there for like a minute and a half, patiently waiting for me to tell you what you needed, what I needed. And then I decided I didn't need you. I could do it better myself. Yeah. And I was able to. And then at that point, you took the liberty upon yourself to just fall asleep. I do think it's funny how many different pictures I'm now racking up of me doing manual labor.
Man stuff.
Yeah. While woman stuff. While you sit there and sleep on the couch.
I hope you have a collage of these things that are 9,000 pictures long when I'm 70. I hope you have boatloads of them because I will be impressed at all the things you did and I will be joyous at all the little things that I did, particularly if I got to nap through most of these things. I do think the last part I'll say about this, I am not good at it. I could be taught potentially to do something functional for you, but I've maybe said this before in the pod. It's a great bit, and you can't talk about it anymore. But Bill Cosby has a great stand-up in the mid-'80s where his line is, as a dad, it takes genius to fake such stupidity, to get out of the shit that you don't want to do from the beginning. So that's what I do.
You're missing out. It's really fun to build things. I'm so glad there was a sailboat in our living room.
I want you to have the sense of accomplishment.
That's so kind that Days came down and drove and had the best time with. Great idea.
The sailboat sandbox, amazing. He's very excited.
Doesn't have any sand in it yet.
That's fine. He doesn't need it. He's loving the way it is.
He's not loving the way it is because the wheel fell off, and every day he's like, "Oh no, mommy, boat broke. Mommy, fix. What happened, boat? What happened, boat?" I told him I'd fix it today. I'm gonna fix it today.
I can't wait. I'm going to golf today.
And that sums up our podcast.
Told you it was feeling good.
See you next week.